As Colorado's homeless crisis is coming to a head, the mayor of Denver announces next steps to help get people off city streets. If you've been in downtown Denver recently, you can't help but notice one of the many homeless camps lining the sidewalks.
Now Mayor Hancock wants to turn more hotels and motels into housing for people in need. It is one part of the city's overall strategy to clean up downtown and offer more stability to people. He also mentioned extending pandemic-era benefits like rental and utility assistance and eviction protection services.
House keys have more power to change a life than a tent.
Another alternative to the unsanctioned camps being explored is more sanctioned camps. Denver has several so-called safe outdoor spaces providing shelter, showers, mental health support, and job resources. Hancock wants to expand these. We've also reported on a pilot program giving direct payments to unhoused people in Denver. It's called the Basic Income Project, and while the city doesn't fund it, the mayor supports it. Many property owners, those who are homeless, and some politicians seem to agree on this. The current approach simply isn't working. CBS 4 investigator Brian Moss in Capitol Hill tonight with more on the growing frustration over the crisis. Brian?
Jim, this is something that we're seeing more and more of in central Denver and downtown Denver. Property owners setting up barricades like this, taking defensive measures and being proactive to try to keep homeless campers away and stop them from setting their tents up in the right-of-way in front of people's homes. And there's a good reason for all this. After the homeless set up camp here for more than a month, property owners are trying to ensure it doesn't happen again.
The only recourse that we have is homeowners.
Jerry Sochor building a snow fence to keep homeless campers off this easement. He says they left a mess, destroyed grass and sprinklers before they moved on.
It's not humane for the homeless, but it's not fair for the residents and the homeowners.
This new homeless camp is on Grant near 6th Avenue in front of the building housing the office of Representative Diana DeGette. The sidewalk is blocked, possessions and garbage strewn everywhere.
It's hard. It's really hard.
Misty Leopard says she and her dog have been living in camps like this for years, constantly moving as the city shuts them down.
They tell you to get a job, but trying to get a job without, having a place to shower or without having an address to give to the employer.
The day we were here, the city had just notified these homeless campers their site would soon be cleared. Homeowners, like Brendan McCormick, are fed up. Compassion has worn thin.
So we have some 55-gallon drums of water that were put in to try and deter the tents from setting up under the bridge.
Last summer, campers moved into his Denver neighborhood for 2 months, bringing crime and drugs, but he says police couldn't do much.
I was told in no uncertain terms, word for word, you're on your own.
He tried to sell his home, but says potential buyers were spooked by the camps and all said the same thing.
But we're worried about the homelessness in the city.
He says with so little apparent progress being made, property owners have reached a boiling point.
We're going to see kind of vigilante justice possibly, and that's not where anybody wants the city to be.
Councilman Chris Hines, whose district is dotted by these encampments, says this is the #1 issue with his constituents.
We're telling them they have to move along, and they go a block or two, and it's like whack-a-mole. The current approach isn't working.
Denver's 311 portal, where people can file complaints, registered 116 calls and emails daily in June about homelessness and encampments. There have been more than 7,000 complaints or inquiries to 311 on the topic since the start of the year.
And with the All-Star game coming, I think that's something that, we're going to see more and more of this being pushed out into the residential areas with really no solution.
Now, while that's a lot of calls and emails on a daily basis to 311, the city actually says it gets a lot more calls and emails about solid waste and questions about the DMV. Still, it's pretty clear that homeowners, property owners are incredibly frustrated and impatient at this point about the growing homeless problem. Reporting live in Denver, I'm Brian Moss, covering Colorado First.